Okay. So we're going to discuss kind of more basic housekeeping. We'll do a quick class introduction and introduction to the course. And then as time allows, we'll get into a brief introduction to GIS. So again, we will be recording the Zoom sessions. They will not have user information or viewer information attached. However, if you speak up and give your name during class, I may not be able to edit that out. So please let me know if you have any concerns. There will be a little bit of a delay for this as I go back and edit and make sure everything has proper captions. So if you are not able to attend the class, there may be as much as a week delay. Hopefully I can get them posted within 2 or 3 days. So this is UAA's classroom management system. You'll see your course listing. You'll see our classes. I'm going to have somewhat limited use of this because it's a lot to maintain for multiple sessions. So pretty much what you will see here are announcements. There's a link to the syllabus. Things will probably look a little bit different to you as a student, but you will see eventually your grades will show up here. And then there will be a link to the course site, which you guys can see. Everything looks different from the back end. All right. You should have access to this if you log into Google with your university account. If you would like me to add an additional email address to that, please let me know. I think I can tie in pretty much any Gmail address. But again, you should be able to just log in with your UA account and have access to the class site. So that is also linked from Blackboard. I think it was also, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it's also linked in the email that I sent you guys at the beginning. So that will have all of our class announcements, all of your lecture recordings, your labs, all of that information is here. So anything that requires student interaction will be on Blackboard, and that's where your wikis will be, which is what I was going to show you. Did I have them? I'll get those posted tonight, but our class wiki, which will be your first assignment, will be to make your profile on the class wiki, will also be in Blackboard. So there will be a template for you to go ahead and set up. I just want a little introduction about you, information about how you would like your peers to contact you. Again, this is your prerogative to say how you want people to reach out to you and what level of privacy you want to control. I would like there to be a photo on your profile. It does not have to be a photo of yourself, just something that kind of indicates how you feel about yourself that day that I can use as a visual indicator, since I'm not going to get to see very many of your faces. That reminds me, as far as Zoom, you're welcome to share or not share your face. I choose not to. There are benefits to sharing and interacting, but I also respect your privacy. So when in doubt, visit the class site. There's a lot of information there. There's a lot of tutorials there. It's probably going to be a little overwhelming at the beginning, but that's the most efficient way of getting you guys information. So start there first. Does anybody have questions about where to find things? So again, this is the Google site, where to find things. My favorite instruction for learning new software and learning new environments is click all the buttons. Eventually you'll find the right one. It's a good idea to make backup copies of things first, because sometimes it can be destructive. But that's how we learn. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys to give personal introductions. And I'll put the slide back on this. Just a couple of things I'd like to know more about you guys and to help us not just be faceless accounts listening to me talk to myself, which will get really boring by the end of the semester if we don't have a little more interaction. So I'll start off with myself, but think about what you want to tell your peers about yourself. I am it's hard to classify. I'm an environmental professional working in the engineering industry in Alaska. I have a degree in geology and I have a background in offshore survey. GIS is something that I've done throughout my schooling and my career. It's not something that I have formal training in. So I'm self-taught, but I've seen Esri go through a lot of evolution. I've loved it, I've hated it, I've quit using it, I've gone back to it. So I understand a lot of the frustrations that you might feel learning this. And I understand what a lot of you have gone through at different stages in your career. So I'm happy to talk to you about any and all of that. I hope to be encouraging in your learning of Esri and ArcGIS, because I've been there and I get frustrated too. So that's a little bit about me. In my work in offshore survey, I did a lot of charting work for NOAA. And this is a quick and dirty sketch we made of a survey of the Kuskokwim River. For my environmental work, I do a lot of mapping of affected species and areas of impact for our projects. So this is a project we did for the city of Unalaska for some work in Dutch Harbor. We did some long-term monitoring of impacted species out there. So that was a fun GIS project as well as a massive permitting undertaking. And this is just an example of some risk identification we did for invasive species for the Kenai Refuge for some new trails. I was just down there this summer and the trails are built. So that was exciting to see. Sometimes these projects take a long time to get to the finish. So just so you're aware, there is a QGIS lab package for this textbook. I haven't integrated that into the lab handouts, but you are definitely welcome to explore that. And anybody else who has any interest in open source options for GIS, I use QGIS routinely in my work. I generally prefer it over Esri. And then of course you can always find fun ways to use GIS in your personal life. So if you have any questions about getting started in QGIS, I don't really have time to fully integrate it into the course, but it's one of my favorite topics, so feel free to ask. All right, so I'm gonna quickly go through the rest of today's presentation. I may not get through all of it, but a lot of it is kind of background on GIS that is interesting, but you can review at your leisure later if needed. So, all right, so this class covers the basic understanding of how geographic information systems work, how we relate spatial data with physical objects on the earth, how we find different data sources, and how we get that into a GIS system and use it. We'll also do a basic understanding of how maps are drawn and projected in our world and how that affects your presentation of the data. And then some basics of database management, which is really what all of this boils down to. GIS is just a fancy way of spatially referencing a database of information. So that's GIS in a nutshell if you weren't really sure what you were signing up for. There's a lot of other courses you can explore at UAA. I won't really get into detail, but ask the geomatics department for more if you're interested. And again, these are the objectives of the course. I need to narrow these slides down for next year because they're a lot to get through. You should all have access to the class webpage, and it will lay out the course schedule. The syllabus is also linked from the webpage. And that slide is linking 2021, or sorry, 2020 instead of 2021, so I will fix that. I've only just been discovering how many different places I link from, and I'm trying to narrow that down so that you can, in the future, only refer to this syllabus for current information. Everything will be here. This includes our schedule. Some of these later dates may get flipped around a little bit, but in general, this is what you can expect for class schedule. Your due dates are also summarized here, and I've broken it down by what we're covering in each of the classes, which is what you see in the syllabus, when your assignments will be given and when they'll be due. Generally speaking, your labs will be due the Tuesday following your next lab. So you'll have a week and a half, essentially, which means if you have any questions, you can ask them in the next lab class. And you'll have 2 weekends. I find if I let it ride any more than that, people just wait till the last minute and ask me questions the Wednesday before they're due anyway. So that's our schedule for those. The only exception, I believe, is the first one, which is due rather quickly because I want to make sure that you have our GIS installed before we get too far down into the weeds of talking about it. Otherwise, it won't make any sense to you. So your first lab will be due September 2nd for that reason. But don't stress about it. It's not a terribly hard lab. This is your textbook. Like I said earlier, if you haven't received it yet, all of his lab information is on the website, as well as the first 2 chapters of the book. So your first reading will be from chapter 1. You guys can still see my screen, right? You can see the textbook on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So chapter 1 is on there, and chapter 3, if for some reason the bookstore has trouble getting books again like they did last year, I can request chapter 2 as well. I'll just need proof that you've purchased the textbook before I can hand out chapter 2. But chapters 1 and 3 are on his website, so they're freely available. You can also access the lab data from here. So there's all of the exercises that we'll be doing, as well as the supplementary QGIS exercises if you want to explore that. I also post this information from our servers, but if you ever have trouble getting the server data downloaded, this is another place you can come for it. And that, again, is linked from many, many different places, including this slide, which I'll be posting. So ArcGIS Pro is our software. These emails haven't gone out yet, so we'll get those out as soon as possible. There's 2 different ways that you can use ArcGIS Pro for this class. If possible, I definitely would recommend installing it locally. This won't work if you have an older PC that's really slow. I think it would have to be fairly old for it to be an issue, but PCs age so quickly these days. It's good to have one that's relatively new and definitely fully up to date. If that's not an option for you, then you can use the Geomatics Lab computers through a virtual private network. And there are instructions on that also posted on the class site and linked here. Oops. There's a access guide for that. So that tells you how to download the virtual private network connection software for either a PC or a Mac. And then you can use that to have a remote desktop installation going. So this just runs the software on the Geomatics server. You will have your own storage on that server. You want to make sure that you go through the steps to shut down and log off that are described on here. Otherwise, everything stays running if you get disconnected. So it's important for the Geomatics server resources that you do end your session before logging out. Does anybody have any questions on accessing the Geomatics server? Hearing none.
Actually, sorry, it's Danielle, correct? So you said that there's two options to access it. We could either download the program or we could access it through the VPN.
Correct.
And then do you have the website where we can download it, and is it free or do we have to pay?
So you will be receiving your student license and that will have instructions for the download. So yeah, sorry, it's a little bit behind this year.
I was looking online yesterday and I couldn't find a free version. The student version was the same price as the individual version, which is $100. And so I didn't want to download anything until more information was given.
Yeah, sorry about that. I would have liked to do it before I left, but they weren't ready to send them out to everybody. So
okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for asking questions. Okay. Again, I kind of introduced QGIS, but QGIS is an open source option. Oh, sorry, Andy, we do. ArcGIS is already installed. I have requested it to be updated to the latest version, but I'm not sure where they've gotten to. I actually have some problems accessing the VPN because of my company's VPN fights with it. So I haven't been able to get on there this year and look. Hopefully it's been updated, and if not, hopefully there aren't any features that needed to get fixed that happened in the last update. I know there were some features I was waiting for at work that they fixed recently, but I don't think any of them were critical for this class. So nothing you guys need to worry about, but yes, it's already installed. Hopefully it's being updated. So never forget that no matter how much Esri tortures you, they are not the only option. There are other options out there, including QGIS. So just want to put that out there. Unfortunately, we don't have infinite time, but I'm always happy to answer questions about QGIS. And I'll try to drop it in now and then more often because it's a perfectly viable option. Again, another pitch for the synchronous course, which you guys don't need. But if you are not enrolled in the synchronous lab for some reason and you would like to be, please do switch. Again, I don't take attendance. I don't care how often you come to class. That's on you guys. It's only to your advantage to be enrolled in the synchronous class. So I will try to make sure it never becomes a penalty. All of our assignments and tests and everything else is on your own schedule. So if there's ever a day you can't make it to class, it's no big deal. If you want to let me know and ask for assistance in scheduling things because you're going to be gone, feel free, but you don't need to let me know if you're not going to attend. It's really just, it's that much easier if you come to class. So if you're not in Synchronous Lab, go ahead and sign up for it because it will definitely be helpful. Note-taking is the best way to make sure that you are engaging with the lectures, even if you're enrolled in a synchronous course. I like to do everything digitally, but it's amazing how different you learn when you write things down. I'm not sure I agree that you can't do that on a laptop, but just make sure that you're taking effective notes and engaging in your learning. It will make it much easier come exam time when you're expected to produce that information a little bit more speedily. And that's the end of the housekeeping portion. I am a big believer in teaching you to do what I don't do, which is take breaks, stand up from your desk and walk away from it multiple times a day. So we will be taking a 5-minute break every class. We're a little bit behind schedule today, but I do want to give you guys just a break to swallow the fire hose of information, step away, and we'll come back. All right.